Hey everybody, this is Glidercat and it's time to play. Today I have a new first look for you featuring a game called Black Forest. Now at the time of this recording, Black Forest is in early access and it's also available to play for free on Steam. Now I'm not sure how long that's going to remain free to play, but it's pretty awesome that it is. So you can check this out on Steam now if you're watching this soon after this video posts. Now I've been playing for about 5 hours so far and I'm really impressed with this game. Let's start this first look by watching a short video from the developer where he explains what Black Forest is all about. It's only about a minute long and then we'll come back and talk more about the game. All right, here we go with that clip.
Black Forest is a unique blend of strategy, survival, and base building. Unlike similar games, your goal is not expansion and conquest, but survival and preservation. Protect what you have, repair and rebuild. You are in control of a village surrounded by a hostile forest. During the day, you give tasks to your villagers to gain resources, construct buildings, repair, harvest, and more. During the night, while your peasants hide in their huts, the monsters of the forest attack. The mood is one part hope in the face of despair, one part struggle to make the most of limited resources, and one part triumph against overwhelming odds. Managing your peasants and your resources is as important as well-constructed defenses and a good village layout. A single game can be completed in 1 to 2 hours. Different levels pose different challenges. Each monster type has its own unique behavior for you to understand and exploit. The game is quick to learn and has a lot of small details to explore, many of which you can use to your advantage.
So that gives a general overview of the game, and in that clip, the developer mentions one of the key aspects of Black Forest that sets it apart from so many other colony builders, and that is Black Forest is much more of a colony survival game than it is a colony builder game. Now, your primary goal is to keep as many of your peasants alive as possible as you face several different threats coming from the forest, the Black Forest that surrounds your small settlement. Now, as you play, some of your peasants will become injured and others are going to die. Some of that you can control and minimize, but some of it you can't totally control. Now, while there are some occasions where you can pick up new settlers in the game, those opportunities are pretty rare if they happen at all, and you'll largely have to make do with the peasants that you start out with. So you might be asking, if you're not focused on expanding, then what do you do as you play the game? Well, I should first mention that there is some degree of expansion. You'll be able to place crops, animal pens, and water wells to increase your supplies of food. And there are over 24 other buildings that you construct that will aid in your defenses, increase the productivity of your village, and even take the fight directly to the creatures of the forest that threaten your survival. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've been playing Black Forest for about 5 hours so far. I may not have seen all of the enemies in the game yet, but here is what I have seen. First, there are huge rats. Now, these guys will eat your crops and damage your farm, homes, and fortifications. I'm not sure if the giant rats here will actually attack your peasants, but the next enemy does. And that next enemy are the kobolds. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. And there appear to be 2 varieties of these. One that does ranged attacks from a distance, and another one that attacks with melee. And like the giant rats, kobolds can damage or destroy pretty much every structure you build, and they'll also eat your peasants. So if they're able to break down one of your houses and they can get at your peasants, then you're probably going to lose some peasants. Now, much like in the story of the 3 little pigs, Black Forest does include houses of different strengths that you can build. Naturally, as you might assume, the stronger houses take more resources and effort to build, but they can hold off more attacks. And remember, one of your key objectives in Black Forest is keeping as many peasants alive as you can. Now, by far, though, the worst enemy I've encountered so far is the troll. This creature can power through any wall that you build and can destroy any building in your settlement with little effort. Now, fortunately, there are some measures you can take to reduce some of the damage and threat, but it's definitely a monster that you don't want hanging around your settlement. There are likely other creatures that I haven't encountered yet, but those are the ones I've seen so far, and the attacks always seem to come in the middle of the night. And after attacking a few things, the enemies will retreat on their own. It's not like your settlers go out to fight them, as far as I've seen so far. Now, in addition to the enemies, you'll also be fighting against droughts, and you'll need to keep your peasants warm throughout the winter. Occasionally, while they're out foraging in the Black Forest, one of your peasants will fall victim to the unknown and return either injured, or they may never come back at all. Now, if you prefer not to play with enemies, and I know a lot of people do, there is a sandbox mode that doesn't include them. So, to summarize, the basic gameplay goes like this. You start with a small settlement, and during the daytime, you plant and harvest food, you gather resources, and you build up your defenses. Then at night, enemies from the Black Forest will come to attack your settlement. Now, depending on how strong your defenses are, you'll likely have to repair, if not completely rebuild, some portion of your settlement the next day. Now, attacks don't come every night, and there are many different buildings you can construct that will help you in your struggle for survival. Black Forest includes 3 different modes of play that you can choose from. First is a story mode, and as the game is in early access, there's only one story available at the time of this recording. That story, called Children's Tales, also serves as a tutorial, and it does a good job of explaining the game and some of the backstory. Now, the next mode available is free play, and you can pick your level of difficulty along with several different maps and scenarios. And then the last mode is sandbox mode, and there's currently 4 different maps and scenarios to choose from in this one. Also, remember that in sandbox mode, there are no enemies to contend with, so that's always a good option. As I said at the top, I've really been impressed with Black Forest, and it plays very smooth and intuitively. I haven't encountered a single bug, and I've had a lot of fun playing. On top of all that, at the time of this recording, it's currently free to play on Steam, and I very highly recommend giving it a try. And that wraps up my first look of Black Forest. As I've said, it's a really cool game, and I hope you've enjoyed this first look video. If you'd like to see more actual gameplay, there will be a short Let's Play season featuring Black Forest posting to the Glidercat channel shortly after this video posts, maybe a day or 2 later, so definitely check that out and join me as I play. As always, I want to thank Glidercat patrons and channel members for their support of the channel. Videos like this simply would not be possible without their support. So thank you, channel members and patrons, sincerely. If you enjoy learning about cool, new, and upcoming games just like Black Forest, then I highly recommend checking out my first look playlist. It's jam-packed with cool new games, and I know you'll find more than one in that playlist that interests you. I'll put a link to that playlist along with all of the relevant links for Black Forest in the description of the video for you, so check those out. And with that, this is Glidercat saying thanks so much for watching. I really mean it, and I'll see you in the next one.